I just, bless me, excuse me. Llewellyn. Just. Hey everyone, it's me, Catherine. This is Cookie Kingdom by Leigh Bardugo, a book I finished at 4 o'clock this morning, and this video is going to be full of so many spoilers, so if you haven't read this, then I have a spoiler-free review that you can check out if you want to. I mean, it's sort of a review. I kind of rambled a little bit, but, you know, it doesn't have any spoilers. If you wanted to check that out, which I will link here, I don't know why I pointed up there, it will be up here. And I have so many feelings about this book, because Matthias, adorable, precious Matthias, I don't, why did he have to die? I've been expecting one or more of them to die since I started Six of Crows. I was expecting death, and when it didn't happen in Six of Crows, I was dreading it to happen in Cookie Kingdom. I was prepared, or I thought I was prepared for a character death, but then I did a stupid thing and got my hopes up because they were almost finished, and I just thought that maybe everything was going to be fine, and then he died. I just can't help thinking about Nina and just how far he'd come in the way he thought about Grisha, and how he was trying to turn his way of thinking around, that he started to see them as less unnatural and more miraculous. Like he knew he still had that hatred inside him, and that because that had been instilled into him since he was a little kid. So he knew that was going to be hard, but he was starting to look at her differently. When Nina's worrying about, when she's found out that she can actually control dead people, which is a little creepy, and obviously she's a little worried and a little ashamed about it. And then Matthias just says, oh, perhaps GL extinguished one light and lit another. Nina cast him a sidelong glance. Did you get hit on the head? He reached out and took Nina's hand. Wylan suddenly felt he was intruding on something private. I am grateful you're alive, he said. I am grateful you're beside me. I am grateful that you're eating. So to him, it doesn't matter. He's just grateful that Nina is back to being Nina. She's alive and Nina. And he was... Why did he die? And then this bit, when after he's died and they're all gathered at Wylan's house, and then this happened. We were all supposed to make it, said Wylan softly. Maybe that was naive, the protest of a rich merchant's son who'd only had a taste of barrel life, but Jesper realised he'd been thinking the same thing. After all their mad escapes and close calls, he'd started to believe the six of them were somehow charmed. That his guns, Kaz's brains, Nina's wit, Inez's talent, Wylan's ingenuity and Matthias' strength had made them somehow untouchable. They might suffer, they might take their knocks, but Wylan was right. In the end, they were all supposed to stay standing. Because that's exactly, like, I knew that realistically, the chances of them all surviving yet another, all the crap that they went through was very slim, and I was prepared for a death. I thought I was prepared, and then when Matthias died, I realised that I'd been hoping that I believed they were all going to get out of it, and I can't. And when Kaz sees them, when Nina arrives, when they arrive with Matthias's body and they all see that Matthias is dead, and Kaz just says, how? Quietly. He just died. And Matthias was so happy when, God, I'm tearing up. Oh my God. And he wasn't even my favourite character, but my babies. And he was so happy when he showed up. When he was hiding his gunshot wound and he came up to me and he was smiling, and then he was gone, and horse. I think it's harder than it should have been because we didn't really get any closure. Laying flowers on his body and then putting him on the barge so they can get to the ship that's going to take them to Ravka. That wasn't closure. Maybe if we'd been with Nina and gone to Fjerda where she buried him and said her final goodbyes, maybe that would have helped. A little. But it hurts. It hurt when I finished, it hurt when I woke up this morning, and it just hurts so much. I wanted a happy ending from this. I wanted it so badly because they all deserved it. They all worked so hard for it and they all deserved it. And Matthias was a good guy. A good guy that didn't deserve to die. So when I finished Six of Crows, I had a list of things that I wanted from Crooked Kingdom, what I wanted from this book. The first of those was that I wanted Nina to get better. I got that. I wanted a Wylan POV. We got a POV from Wylan. Wylan to get his old face back, which he did. And I wanted Jesper to find something, a goal, a purpose, something to aim for in his life. I wanted him to try and turn himself around. Once he was out of his debt, I wanted him to stay out of his debt and to realise that he needed help. He needed to stop. He couldn't go on the way he was going, and I got that. The only other thing I wanted from this book was no deaths. No deaths. And what did I get? Probably one of the most heartbreaking deaths that could have happened. But I'm not going to talk about it because I'm just going to get upset again and I'm going to smudge my makeup. Those were the things I wanted. And Jesper. Let's talk about Jesper because Jesper's dad showing up. When his dad first showed up, I was like, oh no, someone's in trouble. But actually, Jesper's dad showing up turned out to probably be the best thing that could have happened to Jesper, and it made for some great moments. Yay for friggin' parents. Just having a parent around, an adult, an older human being that wasn't trying to bring them down, wasn't trying to arrest them, wasn't trying to con them out of the money. Jesper's dad just sort of brings it back to you that these are kids. And this little paragraph from one of Matthias's, I called him Matthias's chapters. It was Combs' solid presence that transformed the image in the mirror. He made the people in the reflection seem less dangerous, as if they weren't the team that had broken into the ice court and bested the Fjerdan military with little more than their wits and nerve, only a bunch of children worn out after a particularly brutal birthday party. Let me tell you, that would have been one hell of a birthday party, but just having his presence there just sort of, he even sort of affects Kaz. That moment where Kaz and Jesper are fighting because they finally had it out with each other. And then Jesper's dad appears. The trapdoor sprang open and Combe Fahey's head emerged. I still want to call him Fahey though. Combe Fahey's head emerged, his ruddy cheeks went even redder. Jesper, Llewellyn Fahey, that is enough, he roared. Jesper and Kaz both startled, and then, to Wylan's shock, they stepped away from each other, looking guilty. Kaz, looking guilty. Just, yes, score for Jesper's dad. Just what is going on here, Combs said. I thought you were friends. Jesper ran a hand over the back of his neck, looking like he wanted to vanish through the floorboards. We were having a disagreement. I can see that. I have been very patient with all of this, Jesper, but I am at my limit. I want you down here before I count 10, or I will tan your hide so you don't sit for 2 weeks. Just that effect of having a parent there. I just love that he just sort of brings it back to you that these are kids. They're just teenagers trying to do their best and survive in a world that is trying its utmost to destroy them. And I just love that. I love that. I love that Jesper's dad was in this. I mentioned it in Six of Crows. I love that they mentioned their parents, bringing it back to you that they are kids, they're teenagers that haven't even lived half their lives yet, and they've been through so much. They have survived so much and gone through so much, but they're still teenagers. And I just love that part of it. I loved Jesper's dad, and There is so much I want to talk about in this. The next thing I want to talk about is the Grisha trilogy references. I mean, come on, they are walking around in this book, just walking around. First up we get Zoya walks up, and then we see Genya, we see Tamar, we get a little visit from Sturmhand, and just, oh my god, it was beautiful, and I loved it. Just to see Nikolai again, and Zoya and Genya, and just like old family, old friends, family that you haven't seen in ages, just to see their worlds colliding, and it obviously, if you haven't read the Grisha trilogy, that those moments mean absolutely nothing, but to those that have, it was just, I just appreciated it so much. And to see Nikolai still being Nikolai when obviously, oh well, Sturmhand, when they're in the church getting ready for the auction. Why does your weak king send a filthy pirate to do his bidding, sneered the feared ambassador, his words echoing across the cathedral. Privateer, corrected Sturmhand. I suppose he thought my good looks would give me the advantage. Not a concern where you're from, I take it. Nikolai was one of my favourite characters. Sturmhand was one of my favourite characters from the Grisha trilogy, and to see them again in this, to see Genya, to see Zoya, even to see Tamar for the brief glimpse that we do see her, was just beautiful. And to see Kaz and Nikolai, Kaz and Sturmhand interacting, and loved it. I loved it. That was great. I mean, I expected to hear like more of their names, but I never actually expected to see them, to have them show up and take part and interact with my new babies, and it was amazing. It was great, and I loved it. You know what my favourite moment was? Oh, I don't know if it's my favourite moment out of the whole thing, but it's what made me. It was 5 to midnight, and at that point I decided that I was going to finish this book. I was not going to bed until I'd finished it. Now I kind of wish I'd waited because it ruined my sleep. I'm exhausted. But that moment was when they're in the hotel, is it the Geldrunner? I don't know if it's pronounced Geldrunner or Geldrunner. The hotel where Jesper's dad is staying, and they're in the hotel, they're in the clock tower, they've seen that there's pretty much nowhere for them to go because the barrel is out to get them, the Stad Watch are out to get them, everyone is looking for them. Jesper and Kaz have had it out with each other. Jesper's dad has split them up, and Jesper goes to talk to Kaz, like I guess maybe he wants to try and straighten things out or whatever, but all he ever says is Kaz. But Kaz was staring into the middle distance. Wylan thought he knew that look. Is that? Asked Wylan. Scheming face? Said Jesper. Matthias nodded. Definitely. I know how to do it, Kaz said slowly. How to get Kuei out, get the Grisha out, get our money, beat Van Eyck, and give that son of a bitch, Pekka Rawlings, everything he has coming to him. Nina raised a brow. Is that all? How? Asked Inej. This whole time we've been playing Van Eyck's game. We've been hiding. We're done with that. We're going to stage a little auction right out in the open. He turned to face him and his eyes gleamed flat and black as a shark's. And since Kuei is so eager to sacrifice himself, he's going to be the prize. I got that point, so I was over halfway through. I had 200 pages to go, and at that point I decided, you know what, I have to see how this ends. I am not going to sleep till I finished it. And honestly, I don't really regret that decision because it was awesome. It was great. And then Matthias died, and then it wasn't so great, but then it was, and it was just a mix and a mess of emotions. We get to see so much from the characters, and we get to see a few more vulnerabilities in Kaz in this, when he calls Jesper Geordie by accident, and the whole scene with him and Inej in the bathroom when he's determined to help her with her bandages, and then just, oh god guys, I'm a mess. But anyway, that is enough from me. Please guys, let me know in the comments below what your thoughts and feelings, give it me all your spoilery thoughts and feelings on Crooked Kingdom, Six of Crows, all of it, just give it to me in the comments below, and I will hopefully see you guys in another video. Bye!